Hello everyone, my name is Josh Amaral. I'm the city's Director of Housing and Community Development. We have a number of exciting housing projects in the works that have been handled by my office and my colleagues across city government in the Department of City Planning, the Economic Development Council, and others, so on and so forth. The city's been very supportive of building new housing. About a year ago, in March of 2023, we issued a plan called Building New Bedford. In that plan, there's 22 different strategies that we're using to build housing in the city and incentivize housing development in the city. We recognize that affordability is a challenge for everyone, not just in New Bedford, but the state of Massachusetts, really all of New England, much of the rest of the country as well. Housing units are scarce. There are more families, more households that are formed, and we haven't kept up with the demand in building, which has led to a rise in both home prices and also rents. And so our strategy as a city is to build more housing units. It's to get more housing units online. By having more units available, residents have choices, tenants will have choices, rents will be lower because there's competition in the marketplace. And so we've worked really hard and invested city dollars, federal dollars that flow to the city, both in terms of ARPA funds. My office manages the Home Investments Partnership Program, as well as the Community Development Block Grant. These sources have been used to help shepherd housing projects along, and then in line with our Building New Bedford plan, we've worked really closely with the development community to find sites, to explore ways to develop those properties, to assist with permitting, financing, and all the technical aspects that a city has to work through alongside those developers to get those projects rolling. You've seen most visibly a level of development and house building along Union Street that parallels any period of time in terms of residential development in the city's history. At the bottom of Union Street at 18 and Union is the name of the project. This is the former National Club property, as well as the Beckman's property next door that fronts on Commercial Street. This project is 28 total residential units, which will have some loft apartments right on Union Street, as well as some ground floor apartments, as well as second floor apartments on Commercial Street. These were two dilapidated buildings that have been long vacant or underutilized in the city, sort of falling apart in disrepair. Also historically significant and the entrance to our downtown. So their revitalization not just helps us with our housing goals, but also has broader aesthetic impacts and helps. There's also economic development impacts. So there will be a new restaurant on the corner of Union and Route 18 on the first floor of that building, and there's some potential space for other commercial uses along the Route 18 frontage as well. There'll be outside dining. It'll be a nice place. It'll kind of mirror what's on the opposite side of Union Street. But most important to me, of course, is the residential units inside. And so 5 of the 28 units will be income restricted for residents that are below 60% of the area median income. The other 23 will be available more broadly on the housing market, and we've already heard that there's a lot of interest in those units from New Bedford residents who will be able to take in sites of the harbor, as well as be really connected and plugged into that downtown scene. Stay tuned. We're going to have a chance to see some of the apartments that are being constructed in the city and get a better sense of what it looks like beyond the walls that you may see as you drive down the street and wonder, what's going on inside there? We're here at 18 in Union, one of the projects that I talked about. There are 28 units here. 5 of those are income restricted, and all of them are hitting the market very soon. It's a beautiful project, and we're really proud of it. So I'm here with Jason Lanigan, who's the property manager on this property and has been very instrumental in its development with the LaFrance family. Jay, thanks for giving us a tour.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
So energy efficiency is a huge thing in all development now. The energy codes being what they are. I'm looking at the combination of historic buildings where you've put housing where there wasn't before. What is that process like? What's some of the technology being used here?
I think the most noticeable change that developers and residents will find with the new energy code is the elimination of natural gas. So a lot of these projects, or most of these projects, or frankly probably all of these projects, will no longer utilize natural gas as a heating source or a cooking source. So in this particular development and in this particular unit, as is consistent with all of the units, we utilize a mini split system, or otherwise known as a heat pump system, that takes care of the heat and AC for the space. And then, we have an electric stove, and microwave. So a tenant that's paying utilities would only have one utility bill, and that would be their electricity bill. I would say that all of the units are architecturally designed to take into consideration the building's proximity to the water, views of the harbor, layout of the space, so that folks can maximize their living experience. In this particular unit, which is an affordable unit, it's technically a one-bedroom, but it also comes with a den that could be used as an office, could be used as an additional room for storage, could be used as a sitting room, in addition to the living room. So we really try to take into consideration people's lifestyles and what those needs might be in the layout of the units. Right. I mean, obviously somebody could use it as a bedroom. So the technical definition of a bedroom, I've been told, doesn't include a closet. However, I do believe it has to include a window. So, folks have asked, well, it looks like, have said it looks like a two-bedroom, but technically it's a one-bedroom with a den.
Interesting.
But it does give you another room for, privacy or an alternative use.
Well, I think, one of the theories that we've had, right, is you've got young couples, young working professionals living in the city, and in a lot of cases they're living in like 3-bedroom double parlor apartments that were built 100 years ago, and they would maybe prefer to live in a unit like this as long as there's enough space to work from home, have a bedroom, have a good living space to live in, and then you could free up some of those other units for bigger families to move into, because they've had a hard time finding apartments like the ones that are occupied by those two. So my wife and I the first place we lived was this huge apartment with a lot more space than we needed, and maybe we'd prefer to live in like a cool new finish unit, and we'd free that up for a family of 4 or 5. The type of unit we probably need now.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I can't tell you how many requests for 3-bedroom units that we get, and they just don't exist in the city. Mm-hmm. So there's a major need for, I'd say, more economical, urban apartments like this. But there's a great need for that, 3-bedroom unit, in the city to accommodate for families. The third floor is comprised of townhouses. So that's, when you look at the building from the exterior, you can see that there are 4 levels. So the third floor essentially is comprised of both the third and the fourth level in a townhouse setup. And they're all uniquely designed because, it's a very old building with its own, architecture that we had to work around. So they're not cookie cutter apartments. Each townhouse is completely different, which I think is great because it gives people their own sense of space.
I really thought, as you're seeing a couple of these units, these seem to me like a real, really competitive with home ownership, right? Like in terms of square footage, quality of life, you get the 2 floors. If you, particularly in this market, starter homes are $3,500 a month for most people to get a mortgage and everything else. So it might be a very realistic choice to rent, sort of top of the market apartments that give you the feel of a house and are in a location you want to be in. So that's sort of how I compare these to what else is available,
Yeah, absolutely. I foresee a mix of folks that are working downtown or potentially working in the wind industry, along with families that are interested in the location for a number of different reasons, and that's the interest that we're getting. So it's just a matter of time before they're full and there's life in the building.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
We were able to keep the granite building intact, and we made every attempt that we could to preserve the wood frame building, but it was impossible to determine if it could be saved or not until we really dug into it. And despite an enormous effort to save the original structure, we had to substantially remove most of it, but not all of it. We were able to save the east facing wall and rebuild it from the inside out, which was an extraordinary process to watch. So you can see here, this is where the granite building ends and the wood frame, or the new wood frame building, begins.
So sort of these two buildings on the Commercial Street side come together right here, and then on the Union Street side you have yet another building, right?
That is correct.
So this is one of the townhouse units, 2 floors as Jay described. Open floor space. When I'm in something like this, I really feel like I'm in like a suburban house. Right. That's what it feels like, even though it's plopped right in the center of downtown, right with the Route 18 outside the window on the corner of Union Street. The look and feel is great.
Yeah, I mean, you have harbor views from both floors. You have full bathrooms on both floors. That separates the living space from the cooking space. We have full laundry in the units. That's bedroom. So you have 2 beds, 2 full baths.
It's like your master suite, if you wanted it to be.
Yeah, or each bedroom gets its own private bathroom, really. Which is nice.
Yeah, the sort of floor to ceiling windows.
Floor to ceiling windows. But you can see that we utilized every square inch of the architecture that was available, because we were recreating a wood frame building.
Right. Yeah, even the sort of the eaves of the roof.
Right.
If you were building a building that did not pay homage to the history, you'd build a big rectangle. Right? You would
build a big rectangle, and things would be a lot more cookie cutter and would have less character. There's nothing wrong with that. The spaces would be, great.
We get some of those too.
Yeah, inconsistent, and that's totally fine. But in an adaptive reuse housing project like this, the character comes through in every apartment, because each one is totally different. Because of the historical requirements. Right now we're focused on the affordable units and making sure that those are rented and stabilized and taken care of, and then we're just finishing up a little odds and ends, that persist for a while after you get your occupancy permit.
On the 5 income restricted units, what's the interest been like so far? Last week.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
So the post that your office put out definitely worked. Councilor Burgo shared that post, and we received a lot of interest from that as well, I believe. And we've been fielding phone calls and doing showings and taking applications and educating people about the requirements and the costs and so on. So there's definitely a need for affordable housing, and we're happy to be providing some units for people.
Yeah, it's great. We're excited about it. I think you guys have done a great job.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Josh.
Just up the street, a little bit further, is the 117 Union Street project. This is where the Moby Dick building was. There was once upon a time, it was Naughty Dogs was on the corner. The one building was demolished. The other building, a historically interesting building, has been restored as part of this project, which will provide 45 units of housing. Just about all 45 of those units come with income restrictions for low to moderate income residents of the city. Another fantastic project. It's 5 levels, range of unit types and types of apartments that will be available. That project is well underway, under construction, like the one further down on Union Street. I'm sure you've driven by, you see the progress that's been made there, both the initial demolition, the initial restoration of the brick building, and now the structure that's been built there. So that's been coming along, and we anticipate it will continue to come along for the next 6 or 7 months or so before those units are available and ready to be leased up. Steve Beauregard, President of New Bedford Development Corporation.
So this is basically the main entrance of the building. There'll be obviously retail space on the front of the building that will have entrances, but this is where the tenants will enter off of Barker's Lane. There'll be one parking space here, generator out over here, a little sitting area out here. I kind of like the way we've got it designed, you know, it's not the same, just brick all the way up. We've added a little...
Yeah, the building's broken up.
Yeah. We've, you know, you see the bricks running this way, you get the bricks running this way, so it adds just a little flavor to it.
Yep, it's it's an art.
Yep. This is a unit here. We're referring to it as a live-work unit. So you come in on the back side, you do all your artwork out here. People can come by the windows, watch you do your pottery or painting, whatever you're doing. It'll be unique, different. Not for everybody, but you know, artists, you know, they're unique, so I think they'll, you know, be a nice space for them. Overlooking the park when everything is said and done.
Yeah, great addition to the downtown too.
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest in it.
Yeah. I'll show you up here. This is the retail space, Josh. So
set down here.
Look at the size of the boilers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is the retail space?
This is the retail space, front entrance here. We're talking about maybe dividing it into two smaller spaces, but we haven't really, we'll see what we got for, you know, for tenants.
Yep. What's the total square footage in there?
1,500 square feet here, and there's 1,500 next door on the other side of this CMU wall.
Why am I here? Do I come here often?
So these are some of the apartments.
This is all apartments here, yeah. So this is a 600 square foot unit studio. So one of the smaller units that we have. You know, most of the electrical is done, most of the piping in, at least the first 2 floors is done. Sheetrock is ready to go.
You've got high efficiency equipment throughout the building?
All high efficiency, all LEED certified, yeah.
Is it all electric?
Solar panels, all electric, yeah.
All electric with solar panels?
Solar panels up on this roof, not on the Moby Dick, on this new construction building, yeah. Yeah.
That's great. How many people are working here on any given day right now?
Good question. I think it's probably close to 70 guys here.
Yeah, just walking through the hallways.
Yeah, yeah, every floor, you know, you get your electricians in here, and you get your masons on the outside, you get your sheetrockers that are in now, plumbers are still here. Sprinkler system guys are still in the building, so.
Yeah, you see it's very active. And this is,
so
how many months have you been under construction now?
We're about 6 months in with 6 months to go. We should, we're aiming for, we get some back orders on some supplies, you know, but we're looking for sometime November, December.
Yeah, it's on track, which these days in construction is
complete.
Hard to come by.
Yeah, a little bit ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
You know, but again, it's going to depend on when all these items come in.
So this is a 2-bedroom, 740 square foot unit.
You want to see the rooster? I don't know.
Yeah, what do they call it?
A rooster. Rooster. Is there a name for it?
I think so.
Yeah.
So not only do you have the rooster, but you've got, you know, the back of the Whaling Museum,
Yeah,
some of these
and it
historic
obviously
sites.
gets nicer the higher up you go. If you want to see what it looks like upstairs, we can walk up if you'd like.
Oh, even here, I feel like I'm plugged into downtown.
Yeah.
You know,
You know, you'll hear the music when, you know, you have Lower Union Street activities, and, you know, some of them, the units have Juliet balconies on them. So you can go stand outside, put a chair out there, listen to the music, and Joe Jesus Days.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Right at your fingertips. You know, it's literally right here.
yeah, all the things you want to
yeah.
sign up to live downtown.
Yeah. So this is a little community room.
Okay.
So you're in the southeast corner of the building, and you know, put a TV up here, a couple of couches, watch the games.
Yep.
Outdoor, you know, little balcony here. Throw a chair out, sit outside.
It's a pretty good. From this angle, you can see State Pier through those windows. You can see the offshore wind site through that angle, plus everything else going on downtown in between. I hear in conversations often, right, by the nature of the work we do, people say, you know, there's all this new housing construction downtown, but these are luxury condos. These are not for for ordinary people. What do you?
These are just for ordinary people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it in a nutshell. I mean,
Yep.
we've got some 100% of AMI. There's some 80% of AMI. There's some 30% of AMI. So we've got a little mixture of everything coming in.
Yep.
But it's intended for, you know, the working people downtown, the people that are here, that maybe, you know, like my people in my housing office across the street, that are making $50,000 or $60,000 a year. Maybe living downtown, if we could get some type of supermarket, you know, you can give up your car, so you don't have a car expenses, insurance expense. You're right across the street from the Y, so you get home at night, you want to just hit the gym, it's right here. You know, everything's at your fingertips.
And the rents here, you think, on it, like, give me a range.
They're all over the place here, between, you know, $1,400 and $2,000.
Yeah, so I mean, well in line with what the market has now in New Bedford, if not a touch below. And some
that's right, touch below in most instances for new construction with, you know, with a view like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the emblem on the top has an H on it. So it was the Herman building, and then became known as the Moby Dick building when the Pivers bought it. And so we continue referring to it as the Moby Dick building. So you get the new construction, 5 stories here, 3 stories next door. This is the first floor of the Moby Dick building. So all utilities are in the basement here. We put a French drain in through the entire building, so handle a lot of the water issues. This will be retail, and then 8 units upstairs, and then some offices back here.
That's great. So great project, Steve. It's coming together really nicely. Can't wait till these units are online and people are able to live in them. Could you just give us a recap, sort of the number of units, the amount of money invested in this project, and so on?
Yeah, there's about, well, there's actually 45 units altogether. I think it, don't hold me to the exact number, it's 15 studios, 10 one-bedrooms, 15 two-bedrooms, some makeup like that. It's about a $30 million project. You know, the economy hasn't been kind to us with interest rates and, you know, post-COVID, but we were able to pull it off, get all our funding, and you can see the, you know, the building starting to come together.
So we want everybody to stay tuned. If you're interested in living here, you know somebody that is, you can certainly get in touch with our office, the Office of Housing and Community Development for the city. And then stay tuned for more. Keep in touch with Hall Keene Management. And,
applications will be around the city, libraries and City Hall, and Housing Authority will all have applications out there.
Well, thanks for persevering.
Thank you, pal.
It's a great project.
Appreciate it.
Further up Union Street, a long talked about project we refer to as 10 at 8th. You might think of this as the former Registry of Motor Vehicles building that fronted on Union Street. This project here included the demolition of that structure, and will have the construction of a new building that wraps around the corner of 8th Street, hence the name 10 at 8th. That project is going to have 52 units of residential apartments as well. And again, nearly all 52 of those units, I think 52 of those units are income restricted to low and moderate income residents as well. A new project that's just sort of entering our queue and going through the planning and permitting process is at what is known as the Keystone site. This is the missing tooth along Union Street, or the hole on Union Street, as some have referred to it as. It's approximately 197 Union Street. This was once upon a time Keystone Furniture, a building that collapsed in 2004 and has long been vacant since, just a flat site. Once upon a time, the hole was literally filled in, so it's open space now behind a mural in between other buildings. It's been a difficult site to get developed over time, but a developer has stepped forward with interest in working on this property and has put together a plan for 45 units of housing, 9 of which will be income restricted. The remainder, the 36, will be market rate apartments. Again, I think a beautiful project. It's designed in a really clever way where it will look like multiple buildings even though it's just one. And I think it'll be visually appealing. It'll add a lot to Upper Union Street and that whole neighborhood. We've had a number of good projects that are outside of the immediate vicinity of downtown as well. Just on North Street, for example, Holy Family Apartments. This building, again, has been shuttered for close to 40 years. It's on the corner of North Street. This brick structure used to be the Catholic high school in the area, across the street from Holy Family, Holy Name, the elementary school that most folks are familiar with now. Many alumni of Holy Family High School have signaled their support for this project and have come out and are happy to see their old school building put back to use. In this case, it has 15 apartments. 5 of those apartments are set aside for low to moderate income folks. 10 are available to the market at reasonable rates. And we're excited to see this long underutilized building brought back to life for the purposes of housing. That project recently completed and leased up. We visited, we were there for the ribbon cutting, and very interestingly, they've kept the chalkboards. So in each apartment around the sink areas, what would be your sink backsplash, your countertop backsplash, is actually the original chalkboards from the school. So they were able to maintain and preserve that, and we're excited to see that. We actually believe that the school renovation is a place where we have opportunity to add more housing units. Cruz Development has a proposal in place at the former Dunbar School to turn that into 17 apartments. I think a very similar size building, very similar scale to that of Holy Family. We've also had some initial conversations about the development of the former Kempton School and the former Taylor School, although those are a ways off. The city owns those buildings currently and will eventually make them available via RFP for potential developers to propose their projects, and we'll do a whole range of activities to engage the neighbors and talk about the future of those sites soon. But in the meantime, we're working with our nonprofit community. We've made more rental assistance resources available. We'll be launching a first-time homebuyer program, an expanded first-time homebuyer program. We do run we've run one for a long time, but an expanded version of that, as well as one that can help with emergency repairs and other modifications that may be needed in your home to make that livable and comfortable going on and on. So we're working on that. We've got a lot of resources in place and available for folks. People can certainly reach out to the Office of Housing Community Development at 508-979-1500, 1500. You can also visit us on the City of New Bedford website and the Office of Housing Community Development page, but reach out to us. We can refer you to the listings for these apartments or for others that are available in the city. We can also help you get connected with nonprofits and other resources if that's what's most relevant to you right now. But overall, we're here to help, and we'll continue to do our work of sort of building the city out and embracing our community development work one neighborhood at a time.